My name is Stella, and I'm here to do a card for you today. Welcome back. I've been gone for a while. I love doing and listening to YouTube videos, and the one person I really like looking at her videos is Jennifer McGuire. There's some others like May May Made It and Kay Warner, just to mention a few. But you can learn a lot. And today, Jennifer did this card, and I just felt like I want to use my Cricut because that's what I bought it for. So I'm not that into rubber stamping, but I am into using my Cricut. So here we go. We're going to do the Hello Friend card. It's a trifold. So now I start out in Design Space of Cricut on the computer, and I'm going to go to select my shapes, and I'm going to pick a square, and then I'm going to change the color of the square to resemble what I would want it to look like on the card. So I selected white, and I unlocked my screen so that my shape could move freely. And I'm going to measure my card at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Usually I start in the left top corner because it's just easier for me to measure it there. And so you'll see me, what I'm doing now is extending it to make it double what the card is going to be in the width, which would be 8 1/2. And I think I've got it about right where I want it, 8 1/2 by 5 1/2. And now we're going to go to the shapes again, and we're going to select the score line. The score line can be extended, but we have to put it in order to get a score for the card to fold. So I'm going to put the score line in the middle of the 8 1/2 side, which would be 4 1/4. So it's right about between 4 and 4 right at 4 1/4, I'm sorry. And we're going to go down, extend it to the bottom of the card. Next, I'm going to select another score line so that I can have the trifold. And that's going to be half of 4 1/4. And I'm putting the score line right between the 2 and the 2 1/4, because it's about 2 1/8 that side of the card. And that's where your fold line will be to make it a trifold card. Now that I've got that set up, I'm going to select the whole thing, and I'm going to go to the bottom and attach the score lines. For some reason, when I was doing this, my second fold line did not show and did not attach. So I'm going back, and what you see me doing now is attaching that to it. I decided to move my card over to give myself more room when I select all. And so now I'm going to move that score line to the front of the card, and I'm going to go just 2 1/8 over from the left and put the score line right between where you see that 7 and that 7 1/4. Now I have room, which I could have just selected all, which I'm going to do now. And you'll see on the top of the screen where you can just click select all, and your score line will attach. So I'm just making some adjustments to make sure I've got everything right. Select all and attach, and now when I move it, everything is together. Now all I have to do is go over, click make it, and begin setting my paper up in order to cut from my Cricut. Now I have cut out some shapes. I've cut out some leaves. I've cut out the word hello 3 times, and you see this is my trifold card. So I've selected the striped green and white paper because it was similar to what Jennifer had when she was doing her demonstration, only she used ink, and she used the rubber stamp and the ink, and I'm just using some design paper and gluing it to the panels of the card. Now that I've glued it, So now you see me with all the pieces that I've cut out, including a circle that resembles a wreath. And I am also putting my leaves around the card, spacing them accordingly, and just to see if I have enough room for everything and how it will look. Now I've glued my leaves and my twigs onto my circle, and I'm ready to proceed with a bigger circle, which I cut out a 2-inch circle to put in the middle of the card for the greeting, as well as another circle to go on the back. And there you have it. That's the circle. It's not as neat as Jennifer's and not as pretty, but if I take my time and you take your time, we can do it together. Excuse me. Next, I have everything glued. I'm getting ready to put my sentiment circle on the card. And I think I made a little mistake here, but you know, it's all good. I glued my white circle to the wrong part of the card. So I'm going to pull that off, and you'll see me re-glue it on to the right side. If there weren't any mistakes, we wouldn't learn. So now I got everything glued together, and I'm getting ready to put I do use a rubber stamp for my sentiment for the friend part, but for the hello, I'm clipping off some pieces now. And what I was saying was, for my hello, I cut out the word hello from my Cricut 3 times. So it's going to look something like this. And when you glue, make sure you don't put too much glue on, or you'll get those little puckers in your card. But because this is just demonstration, I left it there. And so in order to make it look like some dimension and kind of pop in the front of the card, I'm gluing 3 of the hellos together. I'm using a glue that I love because you can position everything before it really glues on, and it's called Zig Memory System Squeeze and Roll 2-way glue. And I really like it because to do things like this, because they're very small and it's like a pin. Now that I have everything, I have one more to go. And then you're going to see another process to make it look really nice on the front. Here we go. That's how it looks. And I'm sorry for being out of the range of the camera, but it's only me taping, so I've got to go with what I have. Just kind of trimming it up and getting some of the papers off, just to make sure it looks a little bit more professional and crafty. I'm going to glue the hello to the front. And one of the things I like about doing it this way is I can position things the way I like them and just dress it up. And a lot of these techniques I've learned from all of the channels that I mentioned, plus some. I've got a whole list of YouTube channels that I listen to and watch. And it's so much fun. It's like going to school, but liking it. And there I put my friend. Most people will rubber stamp before they add it. So just remember that. And I do wipe off my rubber stamp right after I use it, just so the ink doesn't get clogged on there and it won't get on another card that I'm using. And now I'm gluing the hello onto the card before I embellish it. And you'll see it there. Yeah. And the next step that I have to do is I have to glue half of that image onto the top trifold one. So I'm just gluing half of that. And then I'm going to put it on the side of that card so it extends over. Give it a few minutes to dry, and there you go. And this is almost the exact same design for that Jennifer McGuire used. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out another circle, 2-inch circle, just so that I can put my sentiment on the inside. And I will end up gluing it to the inside of the card. Not a lot of glue, just a little bit. Press it on there, and there you go. And here you go with some embellishments. I did use the glossy accents in order to make my hello glisten and raise up a little bit. Okay, thank you.